This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Get real.
You all ready for this? Dun 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 dun. No.
Y'all, just stop. This is a sham. Welcome to DBL. It's Friday, December 3rd. I'm Jeff here with my friends Erica and Tori. Welcome back, Tori.
Thank you so much.
Did you have a good Hanukkah?
I did have a good Hanukkah. I had the smells of the onions and the garlic and the pot roast and the
Gefilka?
The gefilte is for Pesach, but good try.
Okay, I was trying to get in there.
Nice job. Nice job.
All right.
It was lovely. It was good seeing the fam.
All right, good. I'm glad you had a good time. We missed you. All right, so last night, Alec Baldwin gave his first public account of what happened on the set of the movie Rust, the day cinematographer Helena Hutchins was shot and killed. So Alec said the gun went off after he pulled the hammer back and then let it go, but told George Stephanopoulos he doesn't blame himself for killing Helena. Let's take a look.
Do you feel guilt?
No. I feel that there is. I feel that someone is responsible for what happened, and I can't say who that is, but I know it's not me. And the idea that a real bullet was in that gun and would come out of that gun and kill that woman, that was not even in the realm of possibility. And that's the thing that they must find out, is who brought bullets onto the set.
But a lawyer told the Today Show Alec is now vulnerable if down the road he wants to change his version of events. My question, and maybe the audience's question too, why would you speak during an ongoing investigation?
I mean, I have my theory as to why this route was chosen, and that's because everything at this point is a calculated risk. If he says nothing and he continues to go down the road business as usual, still doing public appearances, still having projects coming out, then he looks tone deaf and also lacks compassion. Mm-hmm. If he does it this way, then at least he's clearing the air about some things that have been going on in the rumor mill in the media. So I think he was kind of like damned if he does, damned if he doesn't, and I'm sure it came down to a very calculated what's the bottom line, and that's why they chose to go this direction.
You said compassion, and we talked earlier, and I said he doesn't look compassionate when he says he has no compassion, but you said he had no guilt.
He said he had no guilt,
that was good that you brought that up, because it is two totally different things.
Right, because if he, even talking about memorializing words in a conversation, saying I feel guilty, I mean, okay, well, fine, we'll throw the book right now. Like, you can't say that. I know it comes across as less compassionate to a lot of people, but he couldn't say that for legal purposes.
1,000%. In Starbucks, they used to tell them if you spill a drink or get the wrong drink or burn something, don't ever say, oh, I'm so sorry about that. That indicates liability.
Wow.
It literally means you're guilty. If you're in a car accident, get out of the car. Don't say, I'm so sorry, that was my fault. Simply say, are you okay? How can we handle this? Because in court, that can be used against you. I get why he did it. I think it backfired a little in two ways. One, I think saying he felt it wasn't me, it wasn't guilt, really showed a coldness to him that I didn't appreciate. And two, later on the interview, he says he didn't know she was dead for like 45 minutes and that he thought she had fainted. I have a really hard time believing that fact because there was blood and people were holding her as she died. And if I don't believe that fact, I'm having a hard time believing all the facts. So I wouldn't have done it. I would have shut up and stayed out of the public's eye. But I get why in a court of a public opinion, I want to get ahead of the story. All of this, though, can be used in court. And if he messes up one thing, they can say, you lied. So it's a big risk.
It's a double-edged sword.
It totally is. It totally is.
So during that same interview, Alec also took a swipe at George Clooney over comments he made about the shooting. So George weighed in on actors handling guns on set. George said he always checks the barrel of a gun to make sure it's empty, but Alec said George's comments were not helpful. Let's watch.
If your protocol is you check the gun every time, well, good for you. Good for you. You know what I mean? I probably handled weapons as much as any other actor in films with an average career. Again, shooting or being shot by someone. And in that time, I had a protocol, and it never let me down.
Alex said actors should put their trust in the prop armorer when it comes to gun safety, but said he'll probably never work on set with a gun again. I don't know about probably.
Probably
take that probably out. Never
sure.
work on set with a gun again. And I think the laws will change as well. There will be no live ammo. Well, I don't understand why there
wasn't supposed to be.
There will be no live ammo on set ever again.
Some people say there won't be dummy bullets. There'll be CGI shots, which I don't understand why we don't do that.
Why it wasn't done before.
Exactly.
I mean, there's entire movies completely put together with CGI.
Correct. If you can make a Tyrannosaurus Rex out of CGI, you can make a bullet sound or look real. I kind of think George Clooney was like digging a little. This to me seemed a little bit like a dig.
I don't know about that.
He was like, I don't handle guns this way. I just felt like, why'd you step into the conversation?
He didn't step into the conversation. This is what happened. How many actors did we have on our show the same week, the following week, and we asked them if it was applicable to them, what their thoughts were on this?
True.
We have asked very pointed questions so that we could understand from a novice standpoint how this generally works. And they offered their testimony as to what their experiences have been. Why would George Clooney be exempt from that? I think that George and Alec probably have a different type of relationship.
Yeah.
And Alec is showing a tell that he was very hurt that his boy wouldn't just decline to say or to talk about the question. But if George Clooney was asked the question pointedly and was like, no comment, then everybody would be looking at him like, well, what are you hiding?
Yeah.
Like, it was he answered a question.
And I think my first reaction was your first reaction.
Like
I didn't like George Clooney stepping in, but I did hear multiple actors weigh in on this. And they don't mean it, but they're like, hey, listen, for my own safety, I always check. I don't think they're necessarily throwing a stone at Alec Baldwin. I think they're just answering the question for their own person.
I agree, but Alec Baldwin certainly felt his stone was thrown.
He definitely did.
Because of the nature of who George Clooney is and probably what their relationship is.
Yeah.
All right, and speaking of George Clooney, the actor admitted that he recently turned down a huge paycheck to star in a commercial. So an unnamed airline offered him, get this, an eye-popping $35 million to star in one of their commercials. However, he turned it down after his wife Amal pointed out that the airline was associated with, quote, a questionable country. He declined to name that country. Must be nice to sell a tequila for $1 billion because he turned down $35 million.
Which sounds crazy, but let's also say that Amal Clooney, who isn't just his wife, she's a human rights attorney, is very well equipped to say which country is going to get you probably a fall down in your career and which one won't. I would go with Amal on this one. I wouldn't go for the money, and you could come across looking really bad in the court of public opinion.
I don't know if it had to do.
I know Jeff's available.
I don't know if it had to do with his career ending. I think that this is more of like a morality decision.
It could be both. It could be a little bit of both.
Well, this is my opinion. People aren't really that clued in on. People get upset. People have like a full, like, you know, for this week we're going to go after this person and talk about this. But doing a commercial isn't going to bring George Clooney's career down.
It almost brought Kendall Jenner's career down with the Pepsi commercial.
Okay, but that was a social justice movement.
True.
When we were in the middle of Black Lives Matter and police brutality and the killing of innocent black people, and then Kendall Jenner decided to do a commercial where she was showing that police officers and all of these things can be resolved by just giving them a Pepsi. That's very different than George Clooney like starring in a commercial for an airline. It's not like he's like, yeah, and then all of these social justice issues that are happening in this country, I endorse it.
But what if you are George Clooney and you are doing, and I'm not saying any particular country, I'm just saying if you do something where women aren't allowed to vote, women aren't allowed to.
We just had the Bieber story.
Let's use this. Yeah, I was just going to say, let's use Justin Bieber in Saudi Arabia.
I was going to say Saudi Arabia. That's what I was going to say.
Let's use that example.
So, for instance, I'm not saying you're endorsing Saudi Arabia if you're in that airline, but people are, as they say, and I hate this word, so woke now, people are very quick to connect you with a cause that you are all for Sudan. That's his big thing, George Clooney, Darfur. That's his big charitable work. And to go against that would be, I think some people might try and take him down.
But
no, I get what you're saying. I'm just simply, my point was that I believe that sometimes people have to make decisions, just like we talked about in the Justin Bieber thing, based on a morality.
Yes.
And morality, and when you get to a Justin Bieber or a George Clooney status, is really serving you best for like how you feel in your soul, not necessarily if your career is going to be taken down with this one decision. That was my thought about it. I didn't think about it in terms of, because it's an unnamed airline, we don't know what the nature of their relationship is with this country. I just assumed that it might be one of the only airlines to continue to go to this country.
Right.
Not necessarily that it's the country's airline. So that's where the morality clause came in for me.
What about just being an entertainer? He does enough stuff. His wife does enough stuff to help out the world, let alone the country. And he's an entertainer, and that's his job. He's got more money than he ever needs, so it's easy for him to turn it down. But what if an average person is trying just to make more money or get more notice? Hey, listen, I don't necessarily believe in this country's political points of view, but I'm an entertainer. I'm just like Justin Bieber performing.
But an entertainer
here.
is a human being, and you either have money or morals.
But Tori, you carry around your cell phone. Do you know the parts and pieces that go into that cell phone and the labor that goes into that cell phone?
Petroleum-based product.
I'm also not endorsing it for a commercial.
See what I mean? You could point that finger to anybody, people watching at home. Just because it's George Clooney or Justin Bieber, we have an opinion. But you're carrying around products that are slave labored used.
Agreed, completely agreed, and I see your point. However, going to do a commercial for an airline is elevating yourself to saying, I am with this company rather than just carrying it. I see the hypocrisy. I totally do.
So you can't do an espresso commercial if you don't like espresso?
Well, nowadays, you can't do anything without someone saying you're doing something wrong.
You're absolutely right on that point. But unnamed airline company, I'm available.
Oh, geez.
We'll be right back.
Oh, jeez.
Closed captioning provided by...
As someone who...
I did not. The three of us didn't. Wait, hold on one second. Can you take this off for a second?
As like a dick.
No, I did not say that. I know I didn't. We can go back.
I didn't hear that.
I didn't say that. I'm positive.
You shot.
So right, so I said a dig. Oh, I'm...
Really?
Oh. Hi guys.
Well, now everyone thinks you said.
Yeah, I didn't. I said dig.
So I want to share this story too, because this is a part of.
That's pretty funny.
Are we on? Yeah. Okay, so this is a part of where I was going with the morality thing. So when I was in radio, like we weren't making like a ton of money, but a big part of your income is doing endorsements. So a very popular fast food chain asked me to endorse for like multiple months, which would have been a substantial part of my income. Well, then they followed up a week later, and it came out that there were some serious homophobic and transphobic qualities that were underlying in this company. So I respectfully went to my boss and told him that I couldn't do this, especially I had just been named like the #1 ally in Colorado, so it just wasn't really in line with who I was. That's a morality decision. Does it affect your bottom line? Absolutely, it could. In George Clooney's situation, does it really hurt him that much? Probably not, but I think when you're faced with situations like that, you have to make those decisions, and he made the decision to go with his wife and what his wife stands for and what they stand for together.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. Listen, it's good for George Clooney to be in that position to even have the opportunity to be like, I'm going to turn this money down because I don't need it. And we're out of time. But there I go. That was my opinion.
I can't believe people thought I said.
Housewife Portia's new man gives new meaning to the term baggage. Plus, I have an update about a newly single celebrity, and Rihanna redefines cleavage with her Fenty line in this week's What Erica's Watching. First up, Portia's Family Matters premiered, and her fiancé Simon has yet to win over her family or her fans. Their relationship started out pretty messy, you'll remember, after claims Portia stole him from her fellow ATL housewife castmate Fallon. So Simon's grandfather had 25 wives and his dad had 2. However, he has 3 ex-wives and 5 kids, and said this.
Where I come from, there's nothing abnormal about having different women. As a matter of fact, there are women from my part of the country that tell their husbands, you can have one side, and from time to time, the wife and the side get together.
Now, is he trying to make this housewife a sister wife? If so, he needs a reality check because Portia won't even share the spotlight with the other housewives. Well, Tiffany Haddish split with Common, and now she's off to the races. She's literally training for her new role of track star FloJo, one of my faves. And it's said that the power couple broke up because they are too busy to maintain a relationship. Let this serve as a warning for those who found love during lockdown. People are running back to the lives they were living before the pandemic. And man, they broke up before I even had the chance to refer to them as comedy. And finally, Rihanna's new Fenty lingerie line is leaving little to the imagination, except for what you can barely see here. Riri is redefining cleavage with these rump-revealing PJs. This might spice up your night if you have a little junk in your trunk. However, if you don't, you may just be out. Share with me anything that catches your eye by using the hashtag DBL Erica Watch, and stay tuned. We'll be right back.
The weather's changing and it's flu season. Add in an international pandemic and the result is a lot of questions. Let's verify. Should you get the COVID booster if you're currently sick? We asked Dr. Kausar Talat at Johns Hopkins University, Dr. Donald Elsendor at Meharry Medical College, and Dr. Greg Schrenk at the University of Maryland Medical Center. And they were on the same page with this one. Once you rule out COVID, it all depends on how bad you're feeling.
If you are sick with COVID and in the isolation period, you should not be getting a booster. If you have a fever, if you feel pretty bad, if you have diarrhea or vomiting, I wouldn't go out and get a vaccine at that time.
You want to have a good response to that vaccine. And a good response means an immune system that is firing on all cylinders.
Another reason is that if you are feeling unwell, it's actually, you may develop some symptoms that are hard to distinguish from some side effects from the vaccines.
So if you're dealing with a more severe illness, our experts say just wait it out and reschedule.
If you just have the sniffles and you know it's not COVID, and you are feeling pretty good otherwise, you can go ahead and get a booster. But there's no urgency to getting the booster, so you can wait until you're feeling better.
So we could verify if you have something more severe, you should hold off. But if it's something very mild, our experts say you should be fine to go ahead and get the shot. With your Verify, I'm Evan Kozloff.
Welcome back to DBL. This diva star power not only lights up rooms, it also shines bright in Hollywood and on Broadway. She even shed some light on some topics we've been discussing on the show this week. That's today's Chatting with the Stars. We were talking about Jussie Smollett. In your opinion, can he have a comeback? Talk to us.
Wait a minute. Did you ask me, could he have a comeback after what he did? Of course he can. Are you kidding me? This is America. We have had people who just recently might have broken the whole country, and they're talking about running again and might win. So can Jussie Smollett have a comeback? Yes, he can. And it's very hard because I have to be upfront. I love Jussie. I've known him since he was a child. Did he make a very bad mistake? Yes, he did. But when it comes to entertainment and capitalism in America, can he have a comeback? Yes, he absolutely can.
Well said.
Yeah,
well, Miss Cheryl,
this is showbiz, baby.
I just have to say that my mantra is everyone's deserving of the comeback that they're willing to earn. So it's not a matter of if. A lot of times it's just a matter of when.
I love this. Very smart.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That part.
That's right. Yeah. All right. I can't wait to ask you this question. I've been dying to ask you. Dr. Oz. That Dr. Oz is running for Senate, Ms. Cheryl, in your state of Pennsylvania, where your husband is a state senator. Does Dr. Oz have what it takes? Ms. Cheryl, you have the floor.
I've got to tell you something. There's so many things that I want to say, but I have always been taught that inner thoughts need not be outer thoughts, especially when you want to say things like carpetbagger. Everybody wants to think that they can just up and be a politician. My husband, Senator Vincent Hughes of Pennsylvania, works 28 hours a day. He must always be available to the people. He must always be thinking about how to move not just his community, but his state, his city, as part of these United States. And a lot of people are just out there ego tripping, and I wish it would stop, because it was ego trips that have gotten us to the state where we are, where so many people in our country don't even know what right from wrong is anymore. And I think Dr. Oz is making a wrong move.
Well said. Now we're going to get to some good things. Your show, Abbott Elementary, which also my girl Janelle James is on that show right there. My friend Janelle, I've known her since she started her career. She's an incredible person and a good friend of mine. So it's so cool to see two people I love working together.
That's lovely.
And I really do believe that Janelle is a breakout in this show. She's just so uniquely talented, and it's wonderful working with her. And Abbott Elementary has been a blessing to me, and I believe that this show has the possibility of turning into America's new favorite comedy. It just has so many wonderful things to say, and the way we have the ability to tackle the seriousness with comedy is just wonderful.
Wow.
Well, and I understand that this is really like art imitating reality in some form, because you come from a family of educators. Who in your family is most like your character?
This is a classroom, not a hoagie stand.
We had it on the board.
I am playing my Auntie Carolyn. My Auntie Carolyn was the teacher that nobody ever forgot. And still people would say, aren't you Miss Preston's niece? And I'm just like, yes, I am. They're like, I went to Bunker Hill. She changed that school. She changed my life. And there are moments in the show, because I play Mrs. Howard, was loosely based on Quinta's mother, who was a 40-year teacher in the Philadelphia School District. And she is also that teacher that the students didn't forget.
DBL Nation, Abbott Elementary premieres Tuesday night on ABC. Also visits divassimplysinging.com to support the Diva Foundation. One of our favorite guests of all time,
She's
Ms.
family.
Cheryl Lee
No longer
Ralph. She is
a guest.
family.
You're
We'll be right
family.
back.
We love you, girl.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Visited a store lately? Notice how prices on everything have gone up: food, gas, clothing. And this also includes cars. So let's verify. Are used cars today more expensive than their newer models? Our sources for this one: Carl Brower with iSeeCars.com, Dr. Ernie Nichols with the University of Memphis, and data from the Consumer Price Index from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. Right now, analysts and experts say the automotive industry is still hurting, even as most automobile plants that shut down at the start of the pandemic have come back online. They tell me the biggest factor to blame for the low supply of new and used cars, the microchip shortage.
We had a shift in global microchip supply that went from the automotive industry into the personal electronics industry. People being stuck at home, buying cell phones, computers.
We learned why those interruptions have had an impact on car sales and the price that you pay.
Anytime you see a situation where prices are high, it comes back to a supply and demand issue.
So in this case, the demand for new and used cars exceeds the available supply. And that means sticker shock for you, as prices have surged to record-breaking levels for both new and used cars.
Of course, if you've got a used vehicle that you're thinking of trading in and you can't find your new car or because it's not available, then you don't trade in your used vehicle and the used supply gets crimped.
Take a look at this data from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. Used cars and trucks rose 2.5% in October after falling in August and September. In October, the new vehicle index increased by 1.4%, marking the 7th consecutive monthly increase. Used cars and truck prices are up nearly 32% from just a year ago. iSeeCars.com also looked at the shrinking price gap between new and used cars. Analysts found that in Memphis and the Mid-South, these used car models like the Tesla Model 3 and Model Y cost about $12,000 more used than the new models. The used Toyota Tundra and Tacoma truck models are about $5,000 more than newer models. And a Dodge Charger is about $4,000 more for the used model compared to the newer one. Used Toyota RAV4s and Honda Civics also cost between $3,000 and $4,000 more than newer models.
This isn't the result of, any governmental, administration. This is not your dealership just trying to gouge you on price.
Ernie tells me until the supply chain gets back to normal levels, you can expect to pay higher prices. So yes, you are paying much more for all vehicles. And several factors like rental companies needing cars as more people travel, supply chain issues, the microchip shortage, they're all having a major impact. So we can verify you will find that some used cars will cost more than newer models, especially popular and in-demand models. You can wait, that's great, but experts tell me no one can say for sure when prices and production will get back to normal.
So if you're planning on getting a real Christmas tree this weekend, we've got some tips to help you get it home safely. That's today's Auto Alert, sponsored by Ox Car Care. I feel like Christmas vacation when I'm thinking about this. According to AAA, 44% of Americans who plan to buy a real tree admitted to using unsafe methods when bringing it home. So here's how to get it home safely. First, protect your vehicle. Place an old blanket between the tree and the vehicle to protect the paint. No brainer, right? Next, always point the trunk of the tree towards the front, and when tying it down, secure the tree at the bottom, center, and top. Don't tie it through the windows. That's a big Jeff
How do you
move.
tie it then?
Don't ask me.
Okay.
Finally, give it. I think there's things on top of your car. Finally, give it the old tug test to make sure it's secure. Ox Car Care is dedicated to providing you with an amazing auto protection plan that works with your budget. If you're looking for better car care, give them a call today at 800-211-3448. Yeah, I think there's a little thing on top of your car nowadays.
Okay.
Tied on there. If not, get a fake tree.
I was never allowed a tree. I want one.
Do you have a tree?
I do, a little tiny one.
Is it like Charlie Brown?
Yeah.
Hey, it's something. It's something. Welcome back, Tori.
Thank
Everyone,
you.
have a great weekend. We'll see you guys on Monday, same time, same place.